He is an Academy Award winner, and he is awesome in this new film, this new animated film that's perfect for all ages. My kids saw it. They digged it. I loved it from beginning to end. Sing in theaters near you next Wednesday, December 21st. Matthew McConaughey here in The Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Rich.
This is good times for you as a professional football fan right now with the Redskins.
Yes,
right?
our skins are hanging around.
Now, what do you think as we're getting ready for 3 weeks to go?
Yes.
A team that was sitting in that sixth spot for so long, now kind of on the outside looking in. What do you think about your team right now?
Well, so look, it doesn't look like we're going to catch the Giants, right? So what is it, Tampa Bay and Atlanta on the outside with wild card?
And then there's Aaron Rodgers catching fire.
He is catching fire. He did a little number in Lambeau the other day, didn't he?
He did that.
Kind of called the shot, too.
He did. And you know he's feeling it when he's calling a shot.
Yes.
But you've got no slouch at the quarterback position, too. Matthew.
Kirkland's Cousins is looking good.
Yeah.
And I think he's getting better. I like it that he's getting a little more confident using his legs, too, because he's got good legs as far as being able to get out and move around. I'm happy with where we are and where we're going. We'll see. Are we a good draft year away? Maybe. Do I like the team that we're building, the identity of the team that we're building? I feel like the Redskins are getting a bit of our identity back, which has been a bit ambiguous for a while. Look, we're tough out. Team comes to play us. They know they played us on Monday. And I like where we're going. I like what Snyder's doing. I like what Gruden's doing as well.
Yeah, I know. And this Monday, they could knock Carolina out and officially do what we're all assuming, that they'll be a new NFC champion this year. And on Monday night, whole country watching, Kirk Cousins being able to sling it around. He's got back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons, first Redskins quarterback to ever do that. Would you, Matthew McConaughey, if I make you the general manager, would you give him a long-term deal?
Yes, let's sign him. Let's do it.
You'd do it. You've seen enough?
Yeah, I've seen enough. Let's do it. I say so.
I like it.
You like it?
I do, to use his phrase. You like that? I do like it.
Yeah.
Because, look, this year, we talked about it when you came on the show in the summer when we chatted in New York City, that, okay, the fact that he says, I'll sign the franchise tender. I'll put my play on the line.
I'll bet on me.
Correct. And what he's done this year, and he could take them to the playoffs for a second straight year. They're not going to win the division, obviously. Right. This is Dallas's year for that. I like it. I'm with you.
I like the direction we're going, and maybe we got another running back here as well.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Fat Rob is his nickname.
Is it Fat Rob?
Have you not heard that?
No, I haven't.
I don't know
What's that about?
I don't know
What's
the answer
Fat
to
Rob? I already like it, though.
He's from Tulane, you know?
Okay.
And so that's his nickname, Fat Rob Kelly.
I like it. I'll look into that.
Is his nickname. Yeah. So, I mean, here we go. I mean, they got a winnable game coming on Monday, and they may make the playoffs. Your Washington Redskins.
That would be wonderful to make the playoffs. And like I said, I think we're heading in the right direction.
And so for a lot of people who may not know, because obviously you're associated with Texas football, why the Redskins? Because everyone would think, okay, Texas football.
I grew up outside of Dallas. So look, when you're 4 years old and you're watching Westerns with your dad and you end up rooting for the Indians versus the Cowboys, that's number one. When you're 4 years old and your favorite food's hamburgers and there's number 55, Chris Hamburger, linebacker. It's another reason you like the Washington Redskins.
Nice.
And then went on to be a big John Riggins fan, the Hogs, Joe Gibbs, the Fun Bunch. And I think I told you last time, I would show up in Texas Stadium wrapped up with a chamois around my waist, no shirt, no shoes, painted burgundy with a headdress on the 50-yard line at 8 years old.
Wow.
And that was the only team I could stay up past. If they played Monday Night Football, I was allowed to stay up past 9 o'clock. I could watch the entire game.
Now, did the rest of your family try to, turn you to what they would call the light side from the dark side?
Dad, a little bit. They saw it was useless pretty early on. Dad played 1 year for the Packers, so there was always a little Packers nostalgia in the family.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, he did in 53.
No kidding.
He sure did. Yeah.
In Lambeau and the whole bit?
Yeah, it was before Lombardi. He sure did.
Uh-huh.
And then they were more Oiler fans.
Okay.
As far as Texas went at that time. But, they tried. They tried to get me to go, what are you doing? I was the only Redskin fan I knew besides the guy who lived across the street from me, Scott Smith, in the whole state, as far as I knew. But yeah, I've always been a Redskin fan from the beginning.
Matthew McConaughey here. Go check out Sing, which we'll discuss here on the Rich Eisen Show shortly. I know last time you were on, too, you had some thoughts about the National Football League, and you wanted to pound the table about something that might have gotten stuck in your craw. You got anything in your
let's talk
quiver
about,
right now?
All right, so we're going through some rule changes, right? Mm-hmm. And they're basically, they protect the offense, and I get it. Offense is better business. Mm-hmm. But there's some things that I think that are happening that are just unfair about what they're doing to the defense.
Like what?
Okay, starting with the quarterback, late hits out of bounds, and you've got a linebacker coming over at an angle. If you don't want to get hit just on that first step when you're in the air out of bounds, step out 2 yards quicker, sooner. The targeting across the middle. There's too many times I've seen a receiver, a D-back launch, receivers in the air, going to catch the ball, he's extended. The D-back launches into the air at his torso, but by the time the receiver's caught the ball and it falls through the air in that split second.
Yeah, the strike zone.
Now he's dropped, the strike zone has changed,
yes.
But our D-back's already committed.
Now, you're talking like I go nuts over this targeting rule, certainly in college.
Yeah.
Because it's so misapplied. I mean, probably about 90% of the time. And then the call's made, and then they go under the hood, and you think, okay, they'll fix this. Because they'll see what you're talking about.
They'll do that, or they'll wait to see what were the consequences.
Yes.
And that shouldn't be where the call should be made.
No, it seems to me that the targeting rule, when they go under the hood with these refs, they're now using it to see if helmet to helmet actually happened, or helmet to shoulder pad, or helmet to neck. And it's got to be. It doesn't have to be helmet to helmet. If you're in the neck or right near the head, they'll still call it.
Yeah.
But it should still be about intent. Did you intend to target this individual?
I'm with you on that. Intent.
Yes.
Yes. Intent.
And they can't tell.
No, and you're just hampering. You're just hedging a lot of those defensive players in a way that they're not able to naturally play as fast, a very physical sport, which we know is football. Mm-hmm. Look, the whole concussion thing, I mean, we can keep tinkering with the technology, but I'm curious if there's somebody going to come up with a great engineering idea, meaning, let's think just radical ideas, not that these are right. What if you made the field 10 yards wider? Does that allow for more speed and there aren't as many direct hits like the Canadian Football League? I think it's longer or wider.
Both. It's both.
Do you, I've heard this is a crazy idea. My brother loves this. He's like, get rid of the face mask.
Yeah, we've talked about that on this show too, right? That you just remove the helmets and the face mask, but then the incidental contact will rearrange some faces. That's the problem.
Sure, but there'd be a lot fewer faces going in head up too. I don't think that's the answer, but I'm curious if there's an engineering idea that would be simpler than might really be the answer, rather than just messing with the technology here and keep hedging the rules that don't make the game that is supposed to be played as has always been played.
Because I've mentioned just get rid of targeting, and there's a lot of people that think targeting should be brought to the National Football League. And I think that if that happens and suddenly you don't apply it right, and guys are getting knocked out of halves of playoff games and whatever, and then if they advance, you don't play for the first half of the Super Bowl or something, I think people would go crazy.
Oh, you're saying targeting.
Bring that to the NFL. People thinking that bring it to the NFL, and I'm like, if I'm up for trying to warn players, get the strike zone right. I'm up for that.
Yes.
But if we are going under the hood, Matthew, and saying we're going to take a look at this videotape, and if we do see that the strike zone changed, but we're still not going to change the call, that'll drive me crazy.
Well, they're not going to change the call right now.
No,
they don't change that call.
It's certainly in college.
No.
And they can't apply it properly between the Big 12 and the Pac-12 and the Big 10.
There's not a consistency. It's like going through the X-ray machine at the airport. Every one of them's you can go through the same thing, and you're going to get through 5 of them, and you won't get through 5 more. Yeah.
Now, before we take a quick break here, when you do maybe have the ear of somebody at Texas or somebody, do you bring this stuff up to say, hey, how about we bring this up at the next NCAA meeting or whenever you
Not
have
really.
somebody's ear?
I'll bring it up here. I'll bring it up in a place like this. I'll bring it up in a conversation. But my relationship with like the University of Texas is I'm there to support the team. I'm there to support the Texas Longhorns. Look, we just lost Charlie Strong. I was friends with him, fan of him. He did some great thing for those young men. At the same time, it's a numbers game. Got to get wins. He had more L's than W's. That was not going to fit. He moved on. Does that mean that I'm going to say, oh, the next coach in? Well, I'm not sure. No, I'm immediately going to get in touch with Tom Herman, and I'm gonna sit there and support him, talk to him. He brings up a great thing when he stepped in and didn't step in saying, well, let me see what I've got. No, he stepped in already with a plan, very A-type personality, and he said a great thing: alignment from the AD down to the water boy. The team's got to be aligned in what their message is. And you can also have too many messages. And I think he's going to help centralize what the message is and what the theme is, what the baseline is, not just for the players, but for all of us in the stands. I mean, we've got, a lot to do in Austin, Texas, and we want to see a good product. And a lot of times, right now the team can't wait for us to turn them on. They got to turn us on.
So when we come back, I'm going to take a 60-second break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the Texas Longhorn. I had somebody on the show earlier this week that is giving you a little bit of a shout-out from the Texas Longhorn family. And we'll talk about Sing. Gold is coming out in January as well, another film that you're in. And I want to talk more about your career, Matthew McConaughey. That's next in just 60 ticks of the clock here on The Rich Eisen Show. Welcome back to The Rich Eisen Show. The folks at EliteTeam.com want you to go to the website right now, as we all do, for one of the best holiday gifts that's out there. Matthew McConaughey, that on the screen right there is yours to keep for coming on this show. A Texas Longhorn blanket from the good folks of the Denali Northwest Company combination. That's good stuff right there.
Hook 'em.
Let me tell you, that Texas blanket, it's 44% larger than any blanket. You wash and dry it. It's softer every time. And for you folks out there watching or listening right now, you go to EliteTeam.com, put in the promo code BLUE, 25% off, free shipping just in time for the holidays. But you have to act now. December 19th is when the deadline ends. EliteTeam.com. There's a Texas Longhorn blanket just for you, sir.
Yeah, I like it.
There you go. That's yours to keep, sir.
Thank you.
A nice parting gift for you here.
I'll use it.
Coming here on the Rich Eisen Show. So Tom Herman, one of the things, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but he tweeted out a photograph of his business card when he was the graduate assistant and put it above the business card of him being the head football coach, saying, hey, dreams come true.
Look at
I
this.
loved that.
How cool is that? And I didn't see it's the same card, right?
Same.
Just different title.
Just different title.
There you go.
Same font, same, obviously, logo. Haven't changed
That's
the logo.
badass.
That was badass in that regard. I had Major Applewhite on the show earlier this week, new coach at Houston.
Yeah.
And I asked him if he wanted to give a little pitch to you to see if you wanted to come over and root for his team.
The Cougars?
Yeah.
Now, I have a little connection there. That's where my dad played ball before he went to play for Green Bay.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So I get a picture. I go down and do the commencement speech at University of Houston a couple years ago and met Herman. So he shows up with the number 88 jersey, which is my dad's number, with McConaughey on the back of it. It was a Cougar jersey. And so I have a little bit of connection to the Cougars, too. So this is perfect for Major Applewhite.
Well, this is what he had to say. I asked him about that, and I'll play it for him, Del Tufo.
I know one person that would make a pitch, and that's probably my wife. But Matthew, he came to a lot of different practices. He's a different vibe and a great vibe. But the guys really enjoy being around him, and he's Longhorn all the way.
Okay, so you're not even going to try, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not going to try to make a pitch. Like I said, if there's anybody in my family that's going to make a pitch, it's going to be my wife.
That's what he said. Trying to give you
He's smart. He's smart, Major.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a nice new gig down there.
He's
for sure.
got a great new gig. Now, there's a great story. Let's talk about business cards, where you've been and where you are. He's had a great path to where he is. And he was quarterback at Texas, and he did nothing but really win. He looked at him in the snapshot and said, well, is that prototypical quarterback? No. Did he have a great arm? No. But damn, he was smart, and he pulled it off, and he won.
Almost 50 team records when he was done.
How about that?
50, almost 48. Just I round up to help him out. Matthew McConaughey here on The Rich Eisen Show. Sing in theaters near you Wednesday, December 21st. I saw this film, saw it with my kids, 8, 5, and 3. My baby girl was dancing through the credits. My kids were up and dancing throughout the whole movie. This movie is fantastic. Matthew, congratulations in advance of this thing coming out.
Thank you. Yeah, it's unanimous. I've seen it 3 times. My kids have seen it 3 times. You walk out, you have a different favorite song. after each time you see it.
Yeah.
You have a different favorite character after each time you see it. And I could see it 5 more times and come out with 5 new favorite songs and 5 new favorite characters. It's really a great film.
Yeah,
for
it's a
everybody.
town filled with animals, and you play the koala bear who owns the Moon Theater, which has seen better days.
It has.
And he's trying to save the theater with a talent contest. And Reese Witherspoon plays the pig, and Scarlett Johansson the porcupine.
Ash.
Yeah, and you, I noticed though, you're not singing in this film. You're just the guy who's
I'm
putting
putting
it all
on
together.
the show.
Yeah.
And I have one little Carly Jepsen Call Me Maybe
That's true.
bit that I riff off. I sing to Ash for a second and say, you could do this. Yeah, that was they came up with that on the day. I was never supposed to sing. I was like, well, if you find one spot, I'd like to get in there. I hum a lot and whistle a lot.
Sure.
But I get to sing a little bit.
So how is your voice when it comes down to
It's
it? Though?
low. I'm best when I stay in the low range.
Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
Mellencamp's Pink Houses.
Nice. You could, like, when called upon, that's your go-to?
When I want to. I get called upon more than when I want to. But here's a big reason why. I go to a Mellencamp concert, 1986, Houston, Texas. And during that song, he would always pull someone out of the stands on the stage to sing it with him. Mm-hmm. He pulled me out of the...
No.
Yeah, I get on stage and sing with him.
Now, when was this?
This is, I think, 86, 87, 88 in there.
Your
17.
career hasn't even remotely begun.
So I go out to Hollywood and I go to the music department, the agent. I said, look, Mellencamp comes through with any kind of music video. Let me know. Well, he did. I went and met him, and I was like, you probably don't remember me, but Houston, Texas, I went up on stage with you and jammed. And anyway, we've become friends since.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Just pulled you out like that.
Knew every word.
Back in the day. And like I said, so how your kids are...
I'm
my
8,
kids'
6, and 3, about to be 8, 7, 4.
So, I mean, look, you've got an Academy Award in the case. You've got so many great films ahead of you. But what is it like to be able to show a movie to your kids that you're in, an animated film, and like Daddy's the koala bear? I mean, what is that like for you?
Finally. I got tired of answering that question. So what film of yours is your kid's favorite? I'm like, I haven't made many they can see.
Yeah.
I mean, I go down a list. There's a lot of them. I'm not going to sit them down in front of that film.
Yeah. The Wolf of Wall Street is not something.
No, better not do that. Killer Joe, True Detective. There's some things. There's too many questions to answer. You know?
Yeah.
So that was part of the reason I was seeking out. I did Kubo and the 2 Strings earlier this year, and then I did Sing. And I'd been interested in doing voiceover for animation, but nobody was hiring for the last 4 years. And I went out and called a lot of heads of studios and said, look, if you got something for me.
You called?
Yeah, I did, because I was looking for it. I had kids, they start watching animated films. You watch them with them. You hear what they laugh at. You hear what they like. And then I was like, I need to do something that they can see. And then Sing came across the table, and it was really well written, and I was in.
Well, like I told you, it's not just, they're not doing it just because Daddy's in it. My kids digged it. They loved it. I mean, my son's already seen it twice. It's not even out yet. So
Well, I've got a little more status in the household now.
There you go. Daddy
Since they've
points.
seen Popeye's Buster Moon.
What do you do with that though?
I use it to my advantage, shamelessly.
Way to go. You've got leverage exacted. And then Gold is opening up on January 27th. What is this about, this film?
Oh, this is an amazing story. Remember the Briek scandal in the early 90s? These 2 guys find gold in Indonesia. Hundreds of millions of dollars were invested. Turns out to be, was there really any gold or not? Mm-hmm. It's that story. Is it a scam? Did they know? Did they pull it off? You have to go see the film to see, but it's a really great thriller. Stephen Gaghan directed it.
Well,
one of 3 scripts I've read that immediately after reading, I said, I've got to play that part. Nobody else could.
What are the other 2?
The other 2 was Wooderson and Dallas Magic Mike.
You read the scripts. And
Read the script, and I was
like,
like, I feel like I'm the only guy that can play that. Now, usually I read a script. I've done 50-something films. I'll try to get to a point where I'm like, I'm the only guy that can do that. But sometimes, very seldom after the first read, do I go, that character. I've got to do that. I see it from the inside out, so to speak. So anyway, I love the film, love the story. Yeah, 27th of January. It's a special story, and this guy, I'm playing this dreamer. Learned a lot. Knew this guy because I was through my dad and people he dealt with. My dad would take me around to go collect money from people that owed him money when I was young. Bring the son along, shame him into paying him. And it worked a lot of times. But my dad loved a shady deal. Loved a shady deal. Would rather make half the money with fun people on a shady deal than twice the amount of money in a straight deal with a bunch of squares.
That's great. That's awesome. Again, that's January 27th. And last time you were on the show, Matthew, you talked about how you essentially said you wanted to play Rust Cole when you saw the script.
Yeah.
Okay. That, you're originally going to go
Marty Hart.
for Marty, and then you're like, this guy Rustin Cole really speaks to me here.
Can't wait to hear what comes out of his mouth.
Right. And I asked you at the time, well, what about maybe doing it again? And you said that's a possibility. Has that ball been advanced any further down the field?
No, but that conversation you and I had caught wings because I hear that all the time now. So you said that you're going to do season 3. When is it coming? There's that ball is not advanced at all. I've talked to the creator, Nick Pizzolatto, who's taking a little break from it. But again, if that thing was written well and it came up again, I wouldn't hesitate for a second.
Did you see The Night Of on HBO?
Some of it.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of True Detective.
It's got a little of the same approach.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was a similar feel to it there.
Slow burn.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah.
But so you're still open to the idea?
Oh, I'm open to it for sure.
Great. And then before I let you go, you told a story after the cameras were off when we were in New York about the genesis of All Right, All Right.
Yes.
All Right.
Yes.
Would you please tell that story that you ad-libbed that?
Here's where that comes from. So, Dazed and Confused.
Yes. Genius film.
I'm in the right bar at the right time. And a guy goes, hey, you ever done any acting? You might be just right for this part. Legendary casting director and producer Don Phillips. And I said, yeah, I was in a Miller Lite commercial for about this long, but maybe I'm in film school at the time. And he goes, well, come to this address. You might be just right. Pick up the script. I go down, I pick up the script. There's 3 scenes with 3 lines. And one of the lines is Wooderson out front of the pool hall. The girls walk by. He checks her out going by. And his buddy said, man, you got to cut that out. You're going to go to jail for that, Wooderson. And Wooderson steps forward and says, no, man, that's what I love about those high school girls. I get older, but they stay the same age. Legendary line. I call it a launch pad line. Nice. Like you're going to say, unpack any character who says that and believes it, we can write a book on that guy, right? So that was one of the lines. So I go work on those 3 lines for 3 weeks. I come back, and they do what's called a makeup and wardrobe test, meaning they're shooting another scene one night. I'm just going to show up. Director's going to step off the set and come and look and go, great, I approve. Well, he comes and looks. He goes, geez, this is Wooderson. It's great. He goes, listen, you're not scheduled to work tonight, but we're over here at the Top Notch drive-thru, and you think Wooderson might want to pick up on the redheaded intellectual, Jake? And I'm like, sure. And he goes, want to shoot it? I'm like, sure. So I go get in the car. About to shoot my first scene ever in a film.
Of your career?
Of my career. And I had been listening to a lot of 70s rock and roll at that time. And there was a certain live recording of a Jim Morrison concert in like Amsterdam or somewhere where he barks at the crowd, all right, all right, all right, all right, 4 times, real aggressively though. I'm not thinking about that, but this comes back. So I'm in the car and I'm like, who's my man? I'm nervous. I'm about to hear act. Who's my man? Who's Wooderson? I said, well, I'm about my car. And I go, well, I'm in my 70 Chevelle. Yes. There's one. I said, I'm about getting high. I said, well, Slater's riding shotgun. You know he's got a DuBois rolled out. There's 2. And I said, and I'm about rock and roll. And I said, well, I got Nugent, Stranglehold in the 8-track, man. There's 3. And I hear action. And I look up, and in my mind, I go, and I'm about chicks. I got 3 out of 4. Let's go get the 4th. All right, all right, all right. Pull out. That was it. So first words I ever said on screen. First words I ever said. And that was the 3 affirmations of those 3 things I had. When there we go.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming in, Matthew.
My pleasure.
Love always talking to you. Go check out Sing. It is awesome. Children of all ages will love it. In theaters near you on Wednesday, December 21st. At McConaughey on Twitter to follow him on social media. Back with more in a moment.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.